When I bought this Jeep back in 2015, the stereo was, well, it wasn't the top of the line you could get with this Jeep. And over the years, it's just really become dated. And I keep telling myself over and over, it's time to replace this, it's time to replace this. And well, I just have been putting it off. But today is the day we're going to pull this old stereo out and put some new modern technology in here. Plus, we're going to add some cameras, which is going to make checking out those rocks when we're out on the trail a little easier. Stay tuned. Welcome to TrailRecon, I'm Brad, and we are hanging out in the garage today, and yes, we are working on the Jeep Wrangler JK, something we haven't done in a long time here in the garage, and we're going to be ripping out this old stereo, which has served me pretty well over the last 7 years. I mean, it does have Sirius XM, and it's got Uconnect, and it does have Bluetooth, so it's been a good stereo, but it still has kind of that digital green screen and still has a CD player. So we're gonna update this with a much larger screen. It's gonna give us all kinds of modern day technology, and I'm gonna install some cameras, which is gonna be really nice when we're out on the trail. Plus, we're gonna get rid of this iPad, which I don't think I'm gonna need anymore. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna still be able to use this Vector off-road bar. I'm okay if we have to get rid of it. I just have to figure out where I wanna mount my phone. But I have never removed the dash of this Jeep before. So we'll be doing that today for the very first time, and fingers crossed it goes well. So let's get this pulled apart, and then I'll show you the new stereo we're installing. This iPad has been a workhorse for me. It's been really, really useful, but it's old. The battery doesn't hold a charge, and it's pretty slow to load apps anymore, so I'm not going to be mad to see this go. And plus, the new stereo that we're going to have, it's going to have Apple CarPlay, so I'm going to still be able to use the apps that I need to use. Now, this Vector off-road bar, I'd like to keep it, and we'll see if it still fits with the new stereo, but we're going to take it off just for the moment. I need a couple Allen wrenches, and I need to get a 7mm so we can pull this dash out of here. So I've had this Vector bar in here for about 5 years now, and it's been really good. It's held up really well, no rust, and it's just been a great solution to mounting all kinds of things on here, like iPhones and my InReach and of course my iPad. It would be great if I can still keep this in there, but the functionality we're gonna get with the new stereo, we may not need it anymore. Now with the Vector bar off of here, we've got to pull off this dash piece so then we can access the radio. And so there are a total of 4 7mm bolts that we need to get access to. One was right there on the top, another one is behind this switch, and there's 2 more down here. Now, to pull off this switch to access that bolt, I'm gonna need a trim piece tool. And this is a highly used piece of gear in my garage. And I like this one a lot because it has a little 45-degree bend on it, and it allows you to get into spots. Oh yeah, look at that, super easy. That's gonna come right out of there. That was first try. I did not move that prior to this. Ooh, it's dusty back there. All right, there's a little red tab on here, and then we're just gonna pull this off, hopefully. There we go, there we go. All right, little red tab, press down, and that guy comes out. Man, look at, that's 7 years worth of desert, Rubicon, Moab, Colorado dust. All right, let's get that bolt out of there, and we'll pull this one out. I always like to have a little magnet handy, just so you don't lose anything. All right, now we're gonna pull this trim piece out from underneath the steering wheel. Oh, well, okay. Pull it out very easily, and then there are 2 7mm up here on the top by the steering wheel. All right, so far everything's going easy, although I probably just jinxed myself. Now we should just be able to give that a look. I'm gonna drop the steering wheel, that might make it easier. Drop that down. Let's just get this little tug. Oh, look at that. Okay, that was too easy. It came right out. Wow. Okay, so far so good. And you know, look, I'm honest with you. If the installs don't go well or I have troubles, I share those with you. But so far, it's been going well, although it is very dusty in here. So even though nobody will probably ever see it, I'm going to take some time and at least clean the inside of these vents while I have it open. Now, we've got 4 more 7mm nuts. We need to come out here, and thank you, Jeep, for keeping all the nuts the same size and making my life easy. All right, with all those out, now, moment of truth. Say, oh, look at that. It comes right out. Okay, and then there are 1. Come on, get out of there. Feel your pin. That one doesn't want to come out. Come on. Come on, little buddy. There you go. 2. Where's the tab on that one? Let's see, spin this around. Okay, this is one of those times where slow down and take your time really pays off. So right here, where on the end of it, if you press down, that will slide out. Same with this one. Press here, and that slides out. And now our stereo is out. Well, pulling everything out of the Jeep was super easy. Let's hope the install is just as easy. Are you guys ready to see what we're going to be installing here? This is the Stinger Off-Road Height10 stereo system with the Jeep JK specific integration package. Now, when I was at SEMA this last year, they had this system on display there, and I was like, man, that was awesome. And so talking to those guys, they sent me out this radio, and I am super excited to get this installed and show you guys just how cool this is. Now, it comes with a 10-inch touchscreen color display, which is going to add a whole new look, a whole new refresh to the inside of the Jeep. Plus, it's going to give me a lot of new capabilities, including Apple CarPlay, and we're going to add some cameras to this. So once we get this installed, I'll show you some of the features, but there's a whole new head unit here. We've got some cameras. We've got some USB ports that we're going to be installing where the cigarette lighter is. There's all kinds of plug-and-play wiring here that looks complicated, but I think it's going to be pretty easy. And there's new trim pieces which are going to make the fit and finish on this look like it was factory. So let's get this installed. I can't wait. I just took a short break because Regina said dinner was ready, and she made some really delicious chili mac, but she put quite a few jalapenos in there, so I had to cool down before I came back out here in the garage. All right, we're ready to start installing this. Now, we got some things we need to assemble before we can put it in the Jeep. So this is that 10-inch screen, so we're gonna lay that flat, and then this is one of the trim pieces that we're gonna secure to here, but you can see this is nice and molded. This is gonna give us a nice fit and finish when this is all said and done. So on here, there are 4 screws that need to go in here to hold this into place. And then we're gonna just barely put in 4 screws in the side, which after we get it installed, we'll be tightening down to secure everything. Now, one thing to mention, if you're gonna use a power tool, make sure that it has an adjustable setting. You don't wanna be using something you're just gonna go hammer right through. Having something that has an adjustable setting so when it reaches tension, will stop like that is gonna be very nice. So let's get these screwed in here. All right, with the screen all squared away, now we're going to take the head unit, and we've got a couple little brackets that we need to attach here. So one of these is going to go on top, and it does say front with an arrow on there. And there's only, I think there's only 2 holes that this goes in. 1. All right, with that guy installed on there, then we have these 2 metal brackets that need to go on the side here, and there are just 2 screws that hold these into place. All right, with that all set, that is ready to get installed. Now what I need to do is I forgot, I have to pull the HVAC display out where the heater and the controls are because we need to pull out the cigarette lighter so we can install this new USB port. So I'm gonna hop back in the Jeep and I got one more panel to remove. All right, I can't believe I almost forgot this part, but yeah, we need access to this 12 volt. I called it a cigarette lighter, but I think that's just, you know, old habit. But this should just hopefully pop out. Yes. Whew, okay. And then there are a couple tabs here. 1, 2. Come on, baby. Last one. Make it easy on me. Where is it? Oh, there you are. Come on. There it is. 3? No, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now we got it out. Now what we're going to do is swap this guy out for some USB ports. I can't believe I almost forgot this part. Let's see if we can. Okay, there's 2 little tabs on here. I just push those through and hopefully now. Oh yeah. Put that in there. Come on. There we go. Okay. So we got that out. So now we got a hole there. What we're going to do is we're going to feed this new USB guy through there. Just like that. Okay. Let's try that again. We're going to feed this through a cap, which will give us a nice little cover. And then this through the hole, like that. There we go. Oh, I put it on backwards. All right, give me a second. All right, now that that's lined up and the cap will cover it, so it'll give us a nice clean look. I'm going to route this nut that goes all the way on the back side through here. And that will just screw on there and keep everything nice and secure. All right, here we go. Bingo. We're all set. Everything that I can do out here on the table, I'm done with. Now it's time to start installing this into the Jeep, and I can't wait. However, I'm gonna have to wait just a little bit. So, Regina and I have a trip planned tomorrow. We're gonna go hit the trails, and it's getting late, so what I need to do is go pack all my gear and double check everything for tomorrow's trip, which means finishing this, for me, is gonna be about 24 hours. For you, is gonna be about a second. That was a split second for you. It was 48 hours for me, but I'm back in the garage. I've been having a great time the last couple days. Regina and I were out on a trail, and Marco and I were working on a special project yesterday. Very cool stuff coming here in the future. But before we can start assembling everything, get this actually installed and turned on, there's a couple things still left to do. One, I'm going to put a microphone on the A-pillar, which is going to give me a lot better clarity when I'm on the phone, on the road, in this kind of loud Jeep. So that's going to be nice having that there. It's super easy to install. And then there is a GPS receiver that we need to install right above the gauge cluster, and it comes with a little plate that just sets up there nice and easy. And then we need to wire up some cameras. Let's talk about those cameras for a second. All right, now for what's probably the hardest part of this install, at least as far as decision making goes, and that is where to put the cameras. So with the Heighten stereo system, you can install up to 4 cameras. Today, I'm just going to install a front and a rear facing camera, but I may do side cameras in the future. But the problem is I've done so many modifications to my Jeep, finding the right spot for this is becoming a little bit of a challenge. I thought I could mount it up here on this bar, but that's curved and it won't stick well. Plus I'll have to run the wires down the bar and that won't look nice. I thought I could mount it on the winch, but the lights are in the way. And these cameras are very high quality cameras and they're expensive. And so I don't want to ruin this, but I think for now what I'm going to do is just mount it underneath the fairlead, because at the end of the day I want to see the rocks in front of the tires. The good news is there's lots of cable here, and so what I ended up doing today may not be what I end up doing a couple weeks from now. I have the option to move this around to different places to keep it safe. In the rear is the same thing. I wanted to mount it inside the tire carrier, but my rim is so deep back there that I don't know how much wide visibility I would get, and so This may go on the bumper as well, but again, I'm probably gonna move these around a few times before I settle on something, but for today, I'm just gonna install these so we can at least see what they look like, and then we'll go from there. The good news is, these are easy to wire up. The great news is we disconnected that 12-volt cigarette lighter that I keep calling a cigarette lighter, and so that is now easy power access for these cameras, so I can run the RCA cable along with the power cable straight there, and I'll be good to go. So let me get these hooked up, and then finally we can get the stereo installed. All right guys, a quick interruption here. As I was putting the wire harness together, after I already wired up the cameras, I realized that there is a positive and negative for the camera accessories built into the Stinger wire harness. Of course they made it simple. I just had to make it more complicated. So you don't have to do what I did in wiring this up. You can just wire right to the harness. Yep, that would have been easier. Having a coat hanger to run wires and cables is something that I keep in the garage all the time. I have used this thing hundreds of times. Now, one thing I just realized, I misspoke a little bit. When you put the extension for the camera, the power is actually run inside this single black wire. So you're not gonna have to run your positive, negative, and the RCA cable. We're just gonna run this black wire all the way through, and then we will hook up the power once we get inside. So that works out really well. And if you have not run wire through your firewall, which I have done several times, and it's a little crowded in here, just to the outside of the brake booster, there's a little grommet right there, and you can slice into that grommet, and then it drops your cable right into the footwell. So it works out really well. So this is actually becoming a little easier than I expected. Okay, this is going much easier than expected. So I've already made those connections for the power wires for the cameras, and I did label the cameras front and rears just so I don't get those confused as we're putting this mess of wire back here in here, and I'm gonna do my best to zip tie all this together and make it look nice and clean. But what we need to do next is install our climate control unit back, and so I'm gonna route these USB wires right up the top here, and then start making the connections back to the climate control, which should just be these three that we disconnected originally. 1, 2, and come on. There we go, 3. And then just make sure everything is free and clear. Nothing's gonna bind up. And put that guy in there. What do you say? No? Close? Oh, there we go. Got it. All right, that's in there. Now, let's see what's next. All right, now we're gonna install the module that has all the wires on it. And so I just spent a little bit of time plugging all these wire harnesses in. And look, this looks intimidating, but Stinger did a really good job of labeling all these. And plus, all these connectors only go into one spot, so you can't accidentally put it into the wrong one. And so what we've got here is, these are gonna go to the display screen. Once we get that done there, we've got our antenna wire. There was a speed sensor wire that we had to connect from one of the wire looms to another one. Then there is the steering wheel control module, and we had to make sure we switched this little pin inside here to number 4, and then just connected all of that up. And I think we're ready to, we're gonna connect the cameras, we're gonna connect our antenna and the other wiring harnesses here that were original. This should all go together fairly easy. Okay, I spent a good amount of time here just double checking all my connections and organizing the wires, so hopefully they can tuck in there nice and easy. But before I secure everything, I want to make sure that this guy works. So I plugged in this display just temporarily. Let's see if we power up. Ah, there we go. Stinger Off-Road, 10-inch display screen. This is gonna look so good up there. So I imagine it's just doing its normal cycle here. Hopefully we'll get to some radio in a second. Oh, there we go. FM static. My volume works. Steering controls work. Well, that's a good start. Okay, I'm gonna button this all up, and then we'll take a hard look at some of the features on this radio, and this is gonna look good. All right, I have zip tied a few of these wires together, but the goal here is just to carefully install them behind the dash here so nothing is getting pinched, and keeping it somewhat organized. I only used a couple zip ties, but just enough to keep things from just flying all over the place. Okay, without question, tucking all those wires in was probably the most tedious part of this entire install. I really wanted to take my time to make sure I wasn't pinching off any wires and wanting to get kinked up. So when you're doing that, slow down and take your time. But I think we are all good to go to start buttoning this up, get that monitor installed, and then we'll show you what everything looks like now. All right, the screen is in, mounted, and screwed in, and yes, that was a little fidgety for sure. You've got to squish it up there, pop it in, and there's a couple pins that just have to catch correctly. We're gonna peel the film off the screen here and put on the last piece of trim, and then I'm gonna see if, let's get this guy on there first before we do anything else. There we go. Finishing touches. Nice. That looks good. All right, let's see if that vector bar will go in. All right, guys, here goes. I think this is gonna fit, but we'll see here in just a second. Nice and easy over the screen, and oh, look at that. Heck yeah. I gotta move the phone mount, but that's gonna clear. Nice. And finally, after several hours of installation, this was probably the hardest stereo install I've ever done, but well worth it, because I have totally now modernized the interior of this JK. If you remember before, I had a big old iPad here and that, ugly green screen stereo, and now look at this. We got a big old 10-inch display, and we've got Apple CarPlay, guys. That's pretty awesome. This is really nice. If I need to get in here and use Gaia, or I just want to surf around some music, so much easier to do. All the controls work properly. The steering wheel control works properly. You can see how responsive the screen is. Super, super nice, guys. I can use I'm usually on Spotify. That's usually what I use. So look at, super nice. We can go back to home. And then there are some settings here we can take a look at. You got your sound settings. We can adjust all the front and rear, equalizer, all the standard stuff. A bunch of presets that you can do in there. There's a background thing here, so I think we can change the background. Yeah, so there's some different colors there, plus we can put some custom ones in. That's pretty cool. Maybe we need to do like a TrailRecon custom one or something. Got your camera settings. Oh, let's go check the cameras out. So the cameras are all hooked up, the front and rear. I haven't hooked up the side cameras yet. So there's the rear. There's the front. The front's upside down. My fault. I'll have to go flip that around. But they work. Screen resolution is really good. Very nice. Very, very nice. Guys, what an amazing interior upgrade. I am super happy with this. So I have installed a good amount of stereos in cars over the years, and I will say that this one was probably the most complex. So if you're gonna do this install yourself, Give yourself plenty of time. Take your time with it. Read the instructions. Be patient. But it's worth it. The payoff is amazing. I have a 10-inch screen in my JK. That is super cool. Guys, I will leave a link down below if you want to go check out this stereo. Huge thanks to Stinger Off-Road. And if you haven't been over to TrailRecon.com recently, go check us out. We got all kinds of gear over there. Thanks for watching.